Hello, folks. Welcome to Uncommon Media. I am your host, Uncommon Logic, and today I am not only going to share with you the success story of a Taiwanese immigrant, but also highlight some of the issues that the modern feminists have been yelping about. So I am talking about Tom Lin. He was born in Taiwan. He has lived in various places such as Malaysia, Singapore, Brunei, and New York City. He is currently in Michigan. He is not only a chef, but a culinary instructor, and he has his own food truck called Fortune Cooking. If you have ever glimpsed him on TV, he's been on Cutthroat Kitchen, Guy Fieri's own TV show, and The Great Food Truck Race. Now, you're probably wondering, why the hell am I talking about a successful immigrant? How is he any different from any other immigrant success story out there? Well, what struck a chord with me in particular with Tom Lin was, okay, I'll admit, I share the same cultural background as his. My parents and Tom Lin were born in Taiwan, which is this tiny little island off the coast of China, which you can barely notice on maps because China is gigantic, and Taiwan looks like this little chip off that giant chunk. But what inspired me the most was the fact that Tom Lin was married to a white woman. Now, I know that not all immigrants are closed-minded. Some are more open than others. Not all Taiwanese immigrants are narrow-minded. But from my personal experience, the ones I've met so far have been. In fact, even though while growing up I was in a predominantly white neighborhood, which was filled with mostly Italians, there were some Filipinos, there were some black people, there were some Hispanics. It was racially diverse. I was taught at an early age that white people are the cause of the problems that my parents and supposedly other people like them faced. I didn't care. Even at an early age, I didn't care what the color of their skin was. I only wanted to know whether or not I could talk to them and how they treated me. That's it. I didn't care about anything else. It wasn't the color of their skin. And for some odd reason, it was sinful against my own culture to associate with them in any manner. I mean, the people I've met in my culture have apparently branded white people as some kind of racial curse. They're the reason why we failed. They're the reason why we're not successful. And it was insane. It was just crazy. Even while growing up, I've had white friends, I've had a couple of white boyfriends, and even now I'm engaged to a white man. And believe me, some people within their cultures, if they find that one or a few of their own dare to actually interact with someone outside of that bubble, that circle, what have you, then they're seen as traitors. They're seen as some kind of heretic. So when I was seen forming relationships with white people, I was given a wide variety of racial slurs that they don't tell you about. I mean, sure, they're going to blame white people said this, white people said that. Well, growing up, I can tell you personally that the people who treated me better than others, who accepted me better than others, were white people. Not all of them, mind you, but most of them, and that majority is what matters the most. Most of the people who treated me poorly were the Taiwanese immigrants like my parents and the people they chose to associate with. Those people treated me like an outsider. You've heard some of those Asian slurs that they refer to some people, like for the Chinese you have ching, you have zipperhead, for the Japanese you have jap, and well, like the list goes on. But they don't tell you about the racial slurs that those groups make up for their own kind when they find that they've broken some kind of sacred rule. When I got engaged, I was seen as no longer Taiwanese enough. So I was referred to by my own family, my parents, and my little sister as a Twinkie. Now, you already know that delicious treat that's filled with cream on the inside? Well, their meaning was, I have yellow skin, but I'm white on the inside. Or the other term, ABC, which was American-born Chinese, which referred to any of our kind that spoke English well, successfully integrated themselves into society, and, in general, get along with others outside of their circle. But the truth of the matter is, Tom Lin is one example where he did not let his race get in the way of being successful. He focused on it. It was in a field that he enjoyed, and now all his hard work made it to where he is today. But keep in mind that not every immigrant can be a Tomlin. Not every immigrant can become a successful chef. Tomlin is just one example. And my upbringing is also just one example. I'm sure there are others who have faced different scenarios. Well, the point I want to make here, especially to the modern feminists, and I'm saying that facetiously because I don't believe they're actual feminists, minorities can be racist too. You can blame white people all you want, but that's not going to solve your problems because the only thing you're moving is your lips. Not your arms, not your legs. You're yapping about it, but you're doing nothing to actually find a solution. And I can tell you right off the bat that my parents have their own fucking business. They're the owners, mind you. They have a schedule. But right now, their business is a giant mess. Why? Because they chose to associate with their own kind. They stuck to their own kind. They chose to set up a barrier. I mean, their little library is filled mainly with books written in Chinese. You'll be lucky if you find any books written in English. They didn't bother trying to improve their English. In fact, all they do is watch and listen to Chinese media. They don't bother watching the news unless it's CNN, MSNBC, and they don't even bother digging for the truth behind those news. They just listen and believe every single word that's being spouted to them. This is ignorance. And any assumption they make on the spot, they take as the conclusion. This is how narrow-minded they are. And you know what they do even while their business isn't doing so well? They blame white people. They say white people are the reason we're not successful. White people are naturally discriminated against Asians, and apparently the Taiwanese are a specialized group, the specialized focus of their discrimination. Which, right now, I still find laughable. Because how am I able to form successful relationships with white people and somehow they can't? They've already given up. They did not choose to wander outside their comfort zone and improve themselves. They're not willing to put in the effort. Because right now, all I hear is yap, 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 yap coming out of their mouths. But do I see them actually trying to improve anything? Do I see them trying to actually make a point of improving their life, finding a solution to the problem? No, I don't see them trying at all. They made a choice to lock out anyone that was not within their circle, especially the white people, and yet they blame them for their own shortcomings. This is the act of a loser. This is the act of a coward. When you choose not to put in effort, when you choose not to put in the hard work it takes to reach the goals that you want fulfilled, then you're just a lazy coward. And I don't even know how to express my distaste for the immigrants who choose not to integrate themselves into the American culture. I mean, sure, you can bring your own culture in. You can try to assimilate it the best you can into this unfamiliar area. But keep in mind, you are not in your native country anymore. You are in the US. And if you don't bother trying to adapt to your new environment, don't bother improving your language, don't bother learning the customs, and you just stick to your own little hidey hole, then that's your choice. You chose to be a fucking coward. You chose to be a foreign outsider. Because as far as I can tell, these white people that you've been blaming for your problems, I don't see them telling you that you have to do that. I don't see them persuading you to not learn English, to not go to school, to not get a job. If you make that your own choice, that's your own fucking choice. That's your own fucking responsibility. Blaming white people has nothing to do with it. You want to act like a coward, then you deserve to be treated like a coward. And to the audience, do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you believe that immigrants really should learn to adapt to their new environment, assimilate into the American culture? Or do you believe that America should try to expand its tolerance on the foreigners who refuse to try and understand a new territory? Like, comment, subscribe, hate it, love it, whatever you do. This is Uncommon Media. I am Uncommon Logic, and I will see you next time.